Can't get new clients right now? If you don't know how to get them or you aren't able to keep them, this is for you. And there is a really good chance you are not making this mistake I'm about to share. Trainers and health coaches who listen to business growth podcasts like this are already conscientious. If you are making the mistake I'm about to reveal, you do now or you will fall into that category of trainers who can't get new clients again very soon. I share this in case it shows you that even though the world has exploded with people collecting fitness and health coaching certifications, there is room for you and your voice. There is plenty of room for you because a certification, you must be reminded, is a minimum of viable knowledge or proof of knowledge to enter the field. Few certification programs support trainers or coaches in the client getting process or the effective ongoing coaching process that keeps them and continues to get them transformation. To get new clients, you need two things. And before I give you that, I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to She Means Fitness Business. It's a division of my business, Voice for Fitness. And at Voice for Fitness, we believe you deserve dependable, predictable income from clients that you love working with. And we know that you want to be an inspirational example yourself to other midlife women. So we're all about helping you get the results you want using the hormone balancing training methods I've been using for more than a decade myself to go from 0 to 6-figure months, not just years, but months, so much more than I was making even annually as I was first getting back on my feet. But to do all of this, you and I have to have a health process or a health and fitness or wellness business that is profitable. And, a lot of times the problem is a lack of clients or a lack of traffic and a lack of money that we're charging them. And that's going to make us feel like we're uncertain about whether we can do this or it's sustainable before we get burnout or have to, quote unquote, get a real job or real income. And I know exactly how that feels. So I started over at 49, and not everybody chooses to do that. Let me just tell you. But it happened. And because it happened, not only did I go lower than I'd ever imagined I could be at a point in my life, I didn't think that was going to be the case, but I've gone the equal and opposite higher as well. And although it doesn't eliminate problems, and maybe sometimes it creates more problems, they're a different kind of problem. And it's every day I'm grateful for the kinds of problems and challenges that we have to solve and resolve. And you can get there too. I'm going to share with you a business scorecard. I created it just for health and wellness and fitness professionals. So you can look at it at a glance and know these are the things that you actually need to put in place. They're the parts of the getting the clients, seeing the traffic, drawing it to you, attracting it on a regular, consistent basis, putting them through and making it sure that those people are converting to paying customers, and that you're retaining them and hopefully you're getting referrals from them. If you don't have any of these things, you'll see it. It'll stand out in a glaring, oh my goodness, this is what I need to be working on. So you're welcome. And then if you'd like to talk one-on-one about how to get some coaching to accelerate your progress, because I know it's super hard. Other things come up, fires come up. And so instead of actually working on the business, we end up getting distracted and being taken off of it, especially if it's something we're not quite sure what the steps are. It's hard to be committed to doing the right thing. Let's dive into this. So I left you hanging with, to get new clients, you need two things. You know what these two things are. Number one, you need great service that gets great results regularly, consistently in your current clients so that they continue. And you need a systematic way to ask clients who get those great results for referrals. That's kind of like step 3 and 4 through every process. Like first you got to have traffic, then you have to have a process to take them through, right? And then you're going to keep those and retain those great clients, and you're going to use them. And hopefully they will be your greatest promoters. So if you can't get new clients, what? It's not that hard to get new clients when this is happening all too frequently. Are you ready for this? Some trainers ask this question at the beginning of sessions. What do you want to do today? And we at Fitness Marketing Mastery call them broke, right? Because you are not going to be a trainer who sees those people renew. Why? Because this is 2023 as I'm doing this live, and anytime 2023 and beyond, the customer, the consumer is savvy. I mean, there is Google, there is AI. They are being schooled on what is a good personal trainer, what is possible. And as soon as they've had a taste of great, they are not coming back to a trainer who says, well, what do you want to do today? Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. Because listen, a busy man or woman who's hired you and told you that their goals are specifically this, and they've allowed you to assess them based on their health and activity history, their movement screens, they expect that you have the plan. They expect that you know what they need based on the problem they want solved. And when they hired you, right? Most people don't hire a trainer because they're 100% in love with their health, their fitness, or their performance. On one or more levels, they want change. You're the guide. You better be that GPS plugged in. What do you want to do today? Right. It throws us all under the bus a little. The entire fitness industry just suffered somewhat because of that. Because now, not just that one trainer, but I had a trainer and she, tell them the story, becomes all too easily. Trainers are hit and miss. Some are good or good at telling me form, but others are not worth the investment. That's what becomes the story. So you're doing, or you're going to do, right? If you're not doing this yet, you're going to do the opposite. You are not going to operate that way. First, because you already have a plan, or you have a system or a method that outlines what they need to be doing. And so that you can easily determine what parts of this do they already know? What do they need to learn from you? Or what movements do they need to review? So one of the best ways to make it easy for people to say yes to working with you is to make it easy to get results with you. And it's clear what happens first and next, and then after that, 3 steps, maybe 5 steps. Recently, I spoke with a woman who has 11 steps. I said, no, you don't. You can have 3, you can have 4, you can have 5, but that's all. So I said, that's too many. How can these be grouped into fewer categories? So, and I'm not asking, if you're listening, I'm not asking you to eliminate any steps, but you can think probably of, okay, these 3 are all related to nutrition, or these 3 are all related to the kind of exercise we're going to do when we strength train, or you can lump them together. And you need to do so because it needs to be shorter and fewer steps to the path of success. So you want to tell people how they work with you in 3 or 4 steps. So if you're a nutritionist, do they eliminate foods, add supplements, and reintroduce foods? Do they eliminate and add and try? Do you know what I just said? That's an acronym for EAT. The EAT, the EAT system. Eliminate, add, try, right? And that's what everybody's doing. However, yours is called something. Yours is a system, it's a method. And that changes the game. That's what you're looking for, a name and a process, both. So don't go looking for the cute name and then figure out what your process is. Write down the steps that you take. You probably have a consistent step already, step by step. You already have. This is what I do first with a client, then next with a client, then next with a client. And each client is different, has nuances, but you go through a similar blueprint of steps with them. What is that? Write it down, document it, then play with the words. Is there some way that you can fit this into a word or an acronym that makes sense? Now, obviously, you've got to be careful. You don't want to be spelling the word fart or something like that, right? So make it make sense. So what about you? What's your process? I want you to know something. I did this like literally on the fly. Like eliminate foods, add supplements. I could see that's an E, that's an A, and then reintroduce foods. I just made that try foods again. So it's EAT. It was easy. It wasn't forced. And you might find you have these letters and maybe like Scrabble, you'll have to move them around. But I, for instance, use a 4-part lift method. So LAFT. How cute is that, right? But applicable with business growth for trainers and health coaches. We leverage the L, what is unique about them. We define how they influence, that's the I, others, and create a strategy for them. We feed ideal clients into their world through their funnel. And T is we trade time for smarter ways to scale so that they are not just exchanging dollars for hours, so they can enjoy the life and freedom they want to. That's the series. Now, under leverage, are there more steps and nuances? Of course. Like to leverage, I have to take them through what's the homework. Like we've got to have a mission statement so that they can begin to delegate at some point, right? You can't do it all yourself for very long. If you hope to grow, you won't be able to. You've got to have someone else, and someone else inevitably has more experience with social media than you do. You know your brand and you can relay that to them, but they can potentially be in charge of the statistics and measurement and telling you and reporting to you what is happening and what results that they're getting. And if that growth isn't good enough, then that report gets them out of a job, but you won't do it forever, right? So we've got to leverage. We talk about influence and how to get it. And for instance, on a coaching session with a client just yesterday, we were reviewing her places of influence, and she uses for her older market, so significantly older. She uses Facebook and she's using YouTube, of course, and we should all probably be using YouTube if you're not. But we talked about how she's titling and what those thumbnails look like and how those can be improved to get her more SEO and why those titles are not getting attraction. She has, she had a huge diverse number of likes on an engagement on a post about her dog, a static post. And then she's got videos, but they're not getting as much traction. Interesting, right? So we looked at the titles and talked about that. So that's a piece of influence. It's not just a one thing that we're going to make a one-line statement on, but that's a process. But the method is LIFT. And under each of those, we might be working simultaneously on things, and we might be going in a process like this is the highest priority right now we need to do first before we do the rest. So second, you've got that. You have to have that process, that method, that system that you use and that you could teach someone else if you wanted to. You've got to also have accountability check-ins before sessions. You would not want to know at the beginning of a session any more than you would want to ask, what do you want to do today with your client? You want to know what they have done before they get to the session, right? So let's say you plan a session assuming they've done the homework that they agreed to do and that they're rested, well rested when they show up. And maybe that's not the case. Why wouldn't you build some kind of accountability check-in that occurs before sessions, either periodically? So often I will say, I want you to, on Tuesday and on Friday after your strength training session, I want you to report to me that you've got that in, right? Just text me, right? Or you can use WhatsApp or Voxer or whatever it is that you prefer. So it's not disruptive to anything else that you're doing, but you've got, okay, I know she did it. She did it. Those are the things we had talked about her doing, or she checks in after the walk she's doing every day, or the hit, whatever it is. But you should know exactly what status a client is showing up at before they show up, so that you can plan. Did they do the recommended workouts and activities since seeing you last? Have they gotten a good night's sleep? Are they under a great deal of stress? Have they had some kind of trauma, tragedy? You ideally already know that from their prep form or check-in prior. You're not learning it in the first 5 minutes of a session. So I know this is a downfall for a lot of trainers. It is what happens. The first 5 minutes while the client might be on a treadmill warming up is a catch-up. And then suddenly the workout you planned for them today needs to fly out the window. But had you known that in advance, it would have been much better. So 24 hours prior to a session, I'd have somebody check in if you don't already have that in place. Okay, a client who doesn't comply, by the way, with a reasonable plan isn't your fault. It is theirs. May take a modification from the original plan and the goal, but a progressive training relationship shows change over time. And that needs to be, say a client buys a 6-month package or a 6-session package. There should be a discussion about what desired outcomes from that package are going to occur. What are the measures of success? What if those aren't achieved? What will be the reason? I ask clients this before or right after they've purchased. Like, if you don't get what it was that you wanted, what will be the reason? That's an excellent question to ask on an intake form. And sometimes even before that, you want to have the individual reflect on what they're willing to commit to in order to get results. The biggest message to you listening is that there's plenty of opportunity for conscientious trainers and health coaches, even in what appears to be at first glance a saturated market. The only place it's saturated is on social media. You don't even want to compete with social media, right? You don't want to compete with just getting popular. You want to compete on the client getting side of things, on the revenue from clients. You get them, you keep them. Pretty social media doesn't perform as well as dirty and real. So have you noticed this? And I don't know if you have, but if you are not getting traction, hiring a social media manager who makes your photos picture perfect, or who is making your memes or your covers just really beautiful, is not going to help you get traction. Just down and dirty, post real things that your audience cares about. That is the best way to get traction. And please, please, please do not fall guilty of that trap of giving into, would you like to gain 15 or 20 followers, real followers, for just, $250 or $1,000? Do not do that, because they are not real. They are fake. If they were real, they would find you if you're using appropriate tags. If you're not using appropriate tags, nobody can find you. So it's a needle in a haystack. So if you don't know use of tagging, you don't know what tagging strategy, I find a lot of people are actually tagging based on the title that they want, the status that they want, that has nothing to do with the meme of their post or the video that they posted or the content in the post. And that is the only thing that should determine your tags. Otherwise, you're confusing the algorithm. If you are putting something like menopause fitness coach, menopause, exercise for women in midlife, and you have not even mentioned any of those verbally in your video, on your meme, or in the actual text post copy, you're just confusing it. So you're supposed to layer this information. The tag should mimic what the content was, not be different content. And that's the difference potentially between your success or lack thereof. Your tags should go directly into your post, by the way. If you're not using tags or using enough of them, that will also hurt you. But that was just a little hashtag scoop. So realize pretty social media, though, isn't the answer. It's using a good strategy that is content that matters for the people that you most want to work with. Okay. The show notes for today are going to be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/can't get new clients, because you, my friend, can. And I want you to pay attention to the very next podcast that's coming out after this. I'm going to release something about how to organize. I take that back. We're changing the order. So as I speak, I'm like, no, wait. I just did a podcast about how profitable health experts organize their thoughts anywhere that they're adding communication. So whether you're writing it, you're doing a post, you're doing a full blog, or you're doing a long form video, organizing your thoughts are actually what makes the difference between a real expert who gets paid for what they're doing and one who doesn't. How succinct are you? How concise? How well can you narrow things down to the fewest words possible and make every word count? Here's a good test. So if you have a WordPress word site and you create a meta description for every blog post and every page on your site, that meta description, you absolutely want zero fluff. Every word in it should count. I just recently trained some of my team members on this. So there should be nothing fluffy or new in this. This should reiterate exactly who this post is for, exactly what problem it solves, and mention it again, maybe using different words than in your SEO, in addition to your SEO words. And every word should count. This is like a TEDx talk. In 15 minutes, succinctly tell 3 stories, make 3 points on statistics, and weave them together in a way that every single word counts and calls to action your audience to do something. That is a good communicator, and most likely a profitable health and fitness expert. Can you be succinct? Not verbose, not elaborate, because that's easy, but getting clear and using fewer words, that's the real test. And that's what makes you profitable. Not another certification and not another degree. You got this. Show notes again will be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/can't get new clients. But you, my friend, can.